Yo, what is going on, guys? PowerGPU here. Today we're going to be talking about the requirements or hardware that would be recommended for Destiny 2 to run at 1080p, 1440p, or 4K. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because earlier today, when I was in King Guthalion's chat, we were playing together in some strikes, and while I was playing with him, I noticed in chat a lot of people were asking, "Hey Goth, would these specs run good with Destiny? Or would a GTX 1060 run at 1080p? Or will my AMD 6300 FX 6300 run, or this and that?" You guys gotta understand is that we haven't gotten system requirements yet from Bungie. So everything that I'm going to talk about today, or everything that I'm going to tell you today, is just based off what I've heard so far and what my speculation is, as far as 1080p, 1440p, or 4K. Now, starting off, I did ask Dr. Lupo, because Dr. Lupo was there, and he is a PC enthusiast as well, like myself. I love playing on PC. I always enjoy the higher FPS. I enjoy the higher quality stuff. I enjoyed keyboard and mouse. I always have, always will. Asking him, when I asked him, "Hey, Lupo, what were the settings that you guys were running at the Destiny 2 reveal?" He said they were running at 4K, medium settings, and he said that we're getting about 120 FPS, which I thought it was capped at 60, but I'm gonna go based on what he said. I clipped it. I have the audio. I'll let you guys hear it here in a sec. But that's what they said. So 4K, medium settings, and the machine that they were using was an i7 7700K at 4.2 gigahertz, 16 gigs of RAM with DDR4. Didn't tell me the frequency, but I can take a guess. It's around 3,000. And of course the timing, we don't know all that stuff. And they were using a GTX 1080 Ti. Okay, keep in mind that's a $700 video card. Understandable. But they were running at 4K, medium settings. It still looked amazing. And it was still, I mean, if it was hitting 120 FPS at 4K, which if you guys don't understand, running 4K on certain games, it makes a lot of PCs crawl to their knees. That resolution alone will make a lot of PCs crumble on any game. So when he told me that, when it was hitting 120 FPS at medium settings and it still looked that good, I was thinking to myself, this game is pretty optimized. There's a lot of games out there that cannot be ran at 4K. There is a ton of games that can't run at 4K just for the reasons of it's not optimized enough, or you don't have enough NVIDIA drivers update or AMD driver updates or anything like that. I can tell you right now, right off the bat, NVIDIA is going to have more of the, for sure, more of the leeway on this, because when we were watching the video for the reveal, it did look like there was some GameWorks in effect, some PhysX and stuff like that from NVIDIA. And it's already being pushed by NVIDIA already. So if you want the best and most fluent, most guaranteed FPS, I would probably go with an NVIDIA graphics card. Okay? Just because anytime NVIDIA has anything to do with the game, it usually runs better on NVIDIA. Same thing when it goes for AMD. If you have a game that's more based off AMD technology, then go, if that's what you're going to be playing majority of the time, then go for AMD. It's a hit or miss, when it comes to it. But NVIDIA does have majority of the market, so I would probably recommend NVIDIA this case around. The other thing too is when it comes to the processor. So processor-wise, if you're just planning to play the game and that's it, you can actually go with an i5. You can go with an AMD Ryzen 5, or even just the basic AMD. One of the new Ryzens, I think it was the 1400, which is 4 cores, 8 threads, which is pretty much what an i7 is. But of course, the per core performance, the i7 is going to be a little bit better. But the reason why I say you can go with one of those processors now is if you're running resolutions above 1080p, so if you're running like 1440p, at 144 hertz, or if you're running 4K, the higher resolution you go, the less strain there is on your CPU, the less usage there is on your CPU. So if you're running, let's say, an i5 at 1080p, the lower resolution you go, the more higher-end processor you need. If you don't understand how that works, Linus Tech Tips has a great video on that, if you look it up online.
They're running it. PowerGPU was at medium settings across the board. It was 4K resolution, and it was 120 FPS. Guaranteed. They were smooth as hell.
But moving on here. So like I said, you can do an i5, which is about $200. You could do a Ryzen 5, let's say a 1600 if you want the 6 cores, 12 threads. I would recommend that if you're doing streaming plus gaming. I would recommend at least the Ryzen 5, but I would pretty highly recommend do the Ryzen 1700 if you're planning to do streaming plus gaming as well. Usually when it comes to PC gaming though, I usually recommend to have a 2 PC setup. So if let's say you have a $1,500 budget for PC and you want to stream, I would recommend doing 2 PCs. You know, do like a about $800 and $900 PC, and then do like a $600 PC for their streaming portion of it, because doing 2 PCs for streaming is a huge difference. It's a massive difference. Streaming off the same PC, even if you have a high-end Intel 6900K with or an AMD Ryzen 1800X or whatever, it's still great. Don't get me wrong, you can still do it with no problem. I personally just prefer having a separate box to do it. That's what I do when I do PC gaming. I haven't done it recently, but that's what I like doing myself. But yeah, so pretty much Ryzen 5 or just a Ryzen 4, and then or an Intel Core i5. Any Intel Core i5, even a 2500K from 2nd gen can do it with no problem. Just gaming, no streaming, just gaming. So again, that's about $200. So when it comes to video card wise, if you're looking, let's say at the 1080p resolution, if you want to run at 60, above 60 FPS, so far what my speculation is that medium to high, I think you could do with the 1060 around ultra, if there isn't even an ultra preset. But you should be able to do that at 1080p with so far what we've seen. Which is about a $220 video card, which they have a 3 gig model, and then they have a 6 gig model. We're not sure what this game is going to be using as far as the VRAM goes, which for those of you that don't know what VRAM is, it stands for video memory. It's what your video cards actually have on board of the actual PCB of the video card. So they have a 3 gig version and they have a 6 gig version. I would recommend the 6 gig version just because it's only about $30 more. So it's definitely recommended to get the 6 gig model. Same thing when it goes to the RX 480 or RX 580. If you go to the AMD side, when it comes to GPU, those two are great cards as well for 1080p gaming. But like I said, this is all speculation. We're not going to know exactly how the game's going to run on these different types of hardware, which a lot of people need to understand is that when it comes to PC gaming, these games, not everyone in the world out there has the same exact setup, so these companies need to optimize for so many different types of setups out there. Some people might run AMD processors with NVIDIA graphics cards, or ADATA memory, or Corsair memory, or G.skill memory, or just so many different types of setups out there when it comes to PCs. So I would definitely say a $700 to $800 PC, and I'm going to say at this point because it saved just some money. Let's say an AMD Ryzen with a GTX 1060, or even with GTX 1050 Ti, it's a possibility. We're still not sure, like I said, which is about $150 video card, should be able to run at 1080p, at least medium to high at 60 FPS with 1050 Ti, and with a 1060 or an RX 480 or an RX 580 at 1080p should be able to run at the max settings above 60 FPS. And the reason why I say this is at this very moment, I've had the RX 480s, I've had the 1080 Ti's, I've had the 1080s, I've had the 1070s, I've had all these cards. And I've benchmarked them previously, so if you look back on my videos, I have a bunch of videos on all these cards. And at 1080p, with a single card, don't bother doing SLI or Crossfire. That's pretty much dead. And a lot of games are not even optimized for it anymore, so there's no point. But currently on my machine, after me having all those cards, because when I stream online, the most I stream at is at 720p 60 FPS anyways, at 6,000 bitrate. So there was no point for me to run these games at a higher resolution than just 1080p. So I stayed with the GTX 1060, the 6 gig model. I have the MSI TwinFrozr, and so far I've been able to run every game that's come out to date at max settings above 60 FPS at 1080p. And that's why I have stuck with the 1060. So you could definitely get a 1070, you definitely could get a 1080, but if you're just running 1080p, that is a waste of money. So I would say get a 1080 Ti or 1080 if you're running at 1440p, and you want to make sure you have a constant 60 FPS. Or you're just going to have to start turning down some settings. So that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to talk about this just so that way a lot of you kind of comprehend, so far what we've learned so far from Destiny, from the people that were at the reveal. But like I said, Dr. Lupo did say it was running 4K up at 120 FPS with a 1080 Ti at medium settings, which is phenomenal. That's good to hear. It's always good to hear. But that's it. If you guys have any more questions, I'm going to put the link at the bottom. I'm always in my Discord. We have about 250 members in there right now. I'm going to be building as much community aspect as I can with my friends. Major Lunatic, he's also another streamer. and a few other buddies as well, which I know, call me Danny. I'm going to call you out because you said last time I didn't mention your name in the video. You remember? So call me Danny. There you go. I mentioned you in the video. All right. But yeah, if you join the Discord, we'd like to have fun in there, guys. We talk about PC hardware. We talk about streaming. People always ask me questions. I try to help them out as much as I can. We have other people in there as well that are knowledgeable that could, answer any question for you as well. But don't all, what I really appreciate, guys, is if you guys, just come into this video, hitting the like button if you guys enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed this video as well, other content that I have, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, you don't have to join the Discord. You could always just post them here in the comments below, or just do it on Twitter or something. Just as long as you can get to me, I'll definitely answer it for you guys. It's just a little bit easier on Discord because it just gives me the alert and I just answer it on my phone real quick. But that's pretty much it, guys. I'll be streaming tonight at 8:30 Eastern on PS4 if you guys want to stop by. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys out there in the Destiny universe. Peace.